Our sixth defining question comes from 1 Chronicles 17, and it doesn't exactly come in the form of a question, so I've reverse engineered it just a little bit. Verse 1 of chapter 17 says, "Now when David lived in his house, David said to Nathan the prophet, 'Behold, I dwell in a house of cedar, but the ark of the covenant of the Lord is under a tent.' And Nathan said to David, 'Do all that is in your heart, for God is with you.'" So today's question is, what do you have in your heart? And by this, I mean, what stirs your passion? What keeps you up at night? What would you gladly do for hours and for no pay? Our previous two questions, what do you have in your hand and what do you have in your house, were about your resources and your talents and abilities. But today's question has to do with how we're wired. What sets our hearts on fire? There's a tendency within the faith community to treat our hearts with suspicion, as if we'd better be careful or our passions will lead us down the wrong path. And I think that thinking is largely based on a verse in Jeremiah 17 that says, "The human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is?" Man, that sounds bad, doesn't it? However, the context of Jeremiah's statement is that he is writing to the kingdom of Judah at a time when they're still doing all the religious stuff, all the rituals, all the temple worship type rituals, but they've turned their hearts to false gods. And so in this verse, what God is actually questioning is Judah's motives, because they're doing things that don't line up with their hearts. That's why the very next verse says, "But I, the Lord, search all hearts and examine secret motives. I give all people their due rewards according to what their actions deserve." The problem is, the people of Judah are still doing all the church stuff. They're just not doing it from the heart. Their hearts have turned away from God, and they've lost their passion for God and for what they're doing. And this is a danger for us as well. When we dismiss our hearts from our decisions and feel compelled to make decisions based purely on logic and what others believe we should do, we run the risk of living passionless, uncommitted, unproductive lives. The great poet Emily Dickinson said, "The heart wants what it wants, or else it does not care." Now, if you're a parent, don't you want to see your children devote the rest of their lives to something that they have passion about? Our Heavenly Father wants the same thing. In Psalm 37, David wrote, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you your heart's desires." We're made in God's image, and it is God's heart that compels His action. John 3:16 doesn't say, "For God made a business decision for the world to give His only begotten Son." It says, "For God so loved the world." God made the most important decision in the history of humanity based on His heart and emotions, not just His head. And we too should take our heart into consideration when we make decisions. If we don't, we resign ourselves to something less than the abundant life that Jesus offers. That is why Solomon wrote in Proverbs, "Guard your hearts above all else, for it determines the course of your life." Looking for purpose and passion in your life? What do you have in your heart?